Welcome to our final project, presented to you by Angel Hernandez, Gregory Herrera, Naima Rashid, and Aiden Mena. In this presentation, we're going to talk about the summer assignment. We're going to introduce you guys to rhetoric and rhetorical situation. We're going to talk about some rhetorical devices. We're going to talk about the essays that were initially on the AP exam and the essays that we took on the AP exam this year. And we're going to talk about the unexpected turn, which was the pandemic of COVID-19.
Now, you all presumably have completed the summer assignment. Although it may have seemed like a lot of work, it was definitely worth it. The purpose of the summer assignment is to be an introduction to the AP Language and Composition course. It not only allows Dr. Grekov to see your current writing skills, but it also shows you the caliber at which your work will be graded and how you can improve. Becoming familiar with the MLA format and Turnitin.com is also very useful, as both of these have been used throughout the year.
During the first semester, we did some creative assignments. We wrote some poems, we did some TED Talk journals, and we wrote a few descriptive essays. And we also did a research essay.
One of the first assignments we got for AP Lang was the theme for AP English poem. This was a creative essay. It allowed for metacognitive thought and expression. We were allowed to express ourselves in any manner we wanted to. This is different from most essays in which we were allowed to write about anything we wanted to. We didn't have to follow a specific text or write about any rhetorical devices. This had limitless creative potential, as in everyone's essay was different from each other's.
Here is an example of one of the creative assignments we did during the year. The assignment was to take inspiration from a poem we read in the textbook and write our own version based on our own goals for the class. I would say that my work was not too shabby, but I definitely could use some improvement. The poem you can see here, it lacks connectivity and fluidity, and the use of rhetorical devices feels forced, and the rhetorical devices used were very basic. I used devices such as repetition, which do not really show off the complexity of my writing skills. Here's another example of my writing later on in the year. The research or documented essay was one of my favorite assignments during the year. It allowed for us to choose our own controversial topic that we're passionate about and argue a position on that topic. In my essay, I was able to use sufficient evidence, well-developed commentary, and interesting transitions in order to convey my argument and my position. I received a fairly high score on this essay, and it is one assignment that I am proud of.
One of the most important materials for class was the notebook. This notebook was organized into 5 different sections. The notebooks were graded on occasion, so it was important to keep the notebooks up to date and organized. Personally, I found it that this organization later improved my organization skills into my other classes, which benefited my neatness and overall just made my life a lot easier for 11th grade. One of the most impactful grades in AP Lang was the participation. So we got bi-weekly grades, which were out of 100, which had a huge impact on your overall grade. So participating in class was always important. Not only was participating in class beneficial to your grade for the class, but it was also a beneficial life skill. Getting out of your comfort zone is important later on in your future. And for our class discussions, we had to politely criticize others while also following the classroom rules. This allowed us to build off others' ideas.
Remember to study your rhetorical devices. Practice writing complex syntax. Always try and improve your diction, and learn ways to make your writing flow. Better transitions, commentary, etc. Remember to utilize ethos, logos, and pathos in your writing.
Also, never forget about the rhetorical situation. If you turn into your syllabus, you can see that the rhetorical situation is given to you. Their rhetorical situations includes the exigence, the audience, the writer, the purpose, the context, and the message. Whenever you are analyzing a text, make sure to annotate the rhetorical situation and include an analysis of the rhetorical situation in your essay.
The English Language and Composition AP exam are made up of 2 parts. The multiple choice part is 45% and consists of 45 questions and takes about 1 hour. The free response section is 55% of the exam and takes around 2 hours and 15 minutes. The free response consists of a rhetorical analysis essay where you have to read a non-fiction text and analyze how the writer's language choices contribute to the intended meaning and purpose of the text. And you're going to have to write an argumentative essay where you have to create an evidence-based argument that responds to a given topic. And then lastly, you have to write a synthesis essay, where after reading 6 to 7 texts about a topic, including visual and quantitative sources, you'll have to compose an argument that combines and cites at least 3 of the sources to support your thesis.
Here's a more detailed view of their essays or their free response questions. The rhetorical analysis essay calls for the student to analyze the author's rhetorical choices and explain how they were used in order to convey his or her message or purpose. The argumentative essay calls for the student to argue their position on a given topic. It is recommended to use evidence from personal experience, history, and literature. The synthesis essay asks for the student to synthesize material from at least 3 of 6 sources and develop their position on the topic. The multiple choice section of the exam is quite simple and is what I personally find the easiest. It includes reading and analyzing text, correcting grammatical errors, and vocabulary. Dr. Grekov will give you several practice tests before the exam to ensure that you are prepared. The multiple choice section of the exam. Now, correction work in this class is very important. After every practice test you perform, you are able to go back and correct your work. When correcting your work, make sure to correct your mistakes and explain what was wrong. After this, you can resubmit your assignment for a better grade. This may also be done with essays if you speak to Dr. Grekov and explain why you want to retake an essay.
My first essay in Dr. Grekov's class was the Frederick Douglass Reflection from the summer assignment. It wasn't a very good essay and lacked various essential factors. My essay from second semester, after learning about rhetorical devices, syntax, diction, and all the good works, is much more complex and effective. My first essay lacked commentary, lacked evidence, lacked any really effective rhetorical devices. The syntax was okay, and the essay was slightly repetitive, whereas my essay from semester 2 had great commentary, gave descriptive evidence, and used many rhetorical devices, had very complex syntax and very complex diction. The essay from semester 2 is the type of essay you would want to write on the AP exam, and I would not have been able to write such an essay without the help of Dr. Grekov.
But then, the unexpected happened. We went from in a classroom to sitting behind a computer, continuing our education in AP English language, all due to the coronavirus. Now, it wasn't just the classroom that had changed, but also the advanced placement test for English language and composition. What had changed was that the synthesis essay, argument essay, and multiple choice parts of the exam were completely taken away, and it was only the rhetorical analysis essay, which made up 100% of the test. But of course, we continued to prepare for the exam by making educational videos on rhetorical devices, and we even did more essays on AP Classroom, except this time it's a little more specific on rhetorical analysis essays. And also, we could not forget the most wonderful and important online conferences conducted by Dr. Grekov. It really was a huge help in preparing us for the rhetorical analysis essay. And of course, with the help of Dr. Grekov and the resources she provided, that test was as easy as doing chains at the Knights football game. Overall, our experience in Dr. Grekov's class was pretty great, and there's some key things to remember. Although your work may not be the best, it will never receive a fail. This is important, as long as you show some effort in your work, Dr. Grekov will never fail you. In-class participation is essential. Simply raising your hand to ask a question is enough to participate in the class. But it's important to note that you should participate a little bit more, and not only ask questions, but also make some answers. Don't be afraid to talk with Dr. Grekov. Dr. Grekov is really kind and very caring, so you shouldn't be afraid to talk to her. Remember to take any of your peers' comments or Dr. Grekov's comments into consideration. This will help you to improve your writing, and remember to have fun.
Some advice in rhetorical devices. Try to identify the ones we're using.
A good beginning makes a good ending. We must open our minds and our hearts to literature. AP Lang may be uneventful at times, but the tools and resources gained are well worth the journey.
And that concludes our presentation.